Hey guys, welcome to the notes for Unit 1A, Standard 1. So make sure that when you're watching this video, what you need to do is write down on your notebook while I'm writing down on the screen. So this is the notes for Unit 1A, Standard 1. This was the graphing standard, so I'm going to go ahead and write that in here too. This is all about graphing. I'm just getting used to writing with this tablet. I'm doing better, but I know sometimes they're not the best. I'm seeing some colors here, make notes a little exciting for you. So in the beginning of the school year, we talked about our PT graphs. And what are they? So a PT graph is a position time graph. And they have different shapes, okay? The main thing that I told everybody, and I want you to remember this because they're going to ask you to calculate for slope or for velocity. If they ask, anytime they ask for the velocity of anything with a graph, they're really just asking you to calculate for slope. Again, make sure you're writing this down. And then the equation for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's when they ask you for velocity, you will always find the slope. So we use straight lines and we use a positive slope and a negative slope. First, let's talk about the steepness. So when a graph is steep versus not as steep. So the steepness, and what does steepness mean? Well, steepness is just how the slope is looking. So this one is steeper, and this is time at the bottom, t in seconds. I'm going to be abbreviating a lot of stuff, okay? And then distance is in meters. Distance here is in meters. And then time is always in seconds. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little to the side. That's this tablet. But if you're looking at that, the steepness here, this one's steeper than this one. The steepness is the speed. So steeper means faster. Let's get another color. Steeper is faster. Okay, that's what steepness means. So is A or is B steeper? So this one's actually steeper than this one. Graph A, this one would be faster. And this one is then slower. Okay, so that's what between steepness and in a PT graph, what does the steepness mean? It means the velocity, how fast something is going. If it's steeper, it's faster. If it's not as steep, then it's slower. The other thing that we need to talk about when it comes to PT graphs is positive or negative slope. So positive versus negative slope. Scroll up a little bit here for you. But what does it mean for it to have a positive versus a negative slope And let's talk about those two things now. So a positive slope is one in which looks like this. This is still the time in seconds. This is the distance in meters. And then a negative slope, oops, that was not good. Negative slope, that's better. The negative slope looks like this, right? So t is in seconds and distance is still in meters. When you have a positive slope, so here you have a positive slope, this means it's moving away. If you have a negative slope, this means it's moving towards. Right, so then that's the two different things between steepness is how fast, so more steep, faster, not as steep, slower. The positive slope says it's moving away. The negative slope says it's moving towards. And the last thing we talked about with graphs, oops, there you go. And please feel free that at any moment that if I'm going too fast, you could always pause the video, all right? But the last thing we talked was about curved lines. So anytime there's a curved graph, what does it mean? Well, you'll come across two different types of graphs. Okay, so curved lines. Curved lines is either speeding up or slowing down. Okay, so in other words, objects are accelerating. Object is accelerating. And accelerating does mean speed up or slow down. So it could be either one, okay? So it could be speeding up and it could be slowing down. And you'll come across a graph, oh my goodness, Tozy, you'll come across a graph that looks like this. And this is me trying to do my best with straight lines, okay? So you will see this graph and you will see, my goodness. Try it again, Miss Farias. That's okay. That's better. And you'll see this graph. This is still time in seconds. This is still distance in meters. So distance in meters, time in seconds. And what do they mean when there are curves? Well, this one on this side, this is the speeding up graph. See how it, like, every time it starts covering more and more distance every second? So this is speeding up. Oh, speeding up, aka accelerating. And this one is then slowing down. And anytime they ask you, how fast are they going between here and here? Anytime they ask you for how fast, don't forget they're asking you for the velocity. So if any question comes across to you and says, how fast? You know that they're looking for velocity. And if they're looking for velocity, then you use the slope equation. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is equal to slope. Okay? These are the notes for Unit 1, Standard 1A. At this point, once you're done writing these, I recommend that you go through your notes one more time. If you haven't done the quizzes, go ahead and do the quizzes that belong to Unit 1A, Standard 1, and then do the remediation practice. Once you're done with the remediation practice, you get a good grade on the practice, send me the email. I will send you the test, the link to the test.